Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, President Rodrigo Duterte defends the government's war on drugs anew. He also tells critics that the crackdown on illegal drugs is not a crime against humanity. Also, a senator warns that changes in the approved 2021 national budget is unconstitutional, and will lawmakers pass the budget on time? And the implementing rules and regulations for the anti-terrorism law have been released, but some groups and lawmakers are saying that the law may still face legal challenges. Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson joins us live. President Rodrigo Duterte once again defends the government's war on drugs, telling his critics that it cannot be considered a crime against humanity. In a speech Monday night, Mr. Duterte also makes it clear that he will not be liable for random drug-related killings. In the past, the chief executive said he's willing to be held accountable for the killings related to his drug war. He adds drugs waste lives. And like what he always says, if no decisive action is taken, it can destroy a nation. Here's the president in his own words.
Just charge with the correct indictment. Huwag yung basta-basta lang kayo yung crime against humanity. Kailan pa naging humanity itong drug na ito? Are they not killing humanity also? At 1.6 destroyed, 1.6 destroyed lives. When you save your country from the perdition of the people like the NPAs and drugs, you are doing the sacred duty.
Meantime, Senate President Tito Soto says the Senate will resume its session a week earlier than scheduled in November. Senator Mig Zubiri explains they want to immediately discuss the 2021 national budget bill, but questions remain. If lawmakers can actually pass it on time, and will senators allow amendments or errata in the House-approved budget? Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. Senator Lacson, welcome to The Source, and maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
October 16, Senator, the House passed the budget on third and final reading. But in yesterday's report, institutional amendments apparently will still be inputted in the printing of the 2021 budget. Is this acceptable to you?
No, it is not a matter of being acceptable to the senators or not. It's a matter of the Constitution prohibiting it, because Section 26 of the Constitution is very clear. No amendments shall be allowed after the final reading of any bill, not just the General Appropriations Act, but any measure for that matter.
So it's unconstitutional?
It is unconstitutional. They claim that it's errata to be submitted by the agencies, but that's another violation, because the budget process, it's a four-phase process that involves preparation to be handled by the executive branch, and then authorization. We are now in the authorization phase, and it is the exclusive domain of the Congress. So we cannot allow the executive or the agencies under the executive branch to participate in the authorization phase. That is the exclusive domain of the Congress of the Philippines.
And how will the senators accept this if you're saying this is unconstitutional?
Well, anybody can question that before the Supreme Court. But in the meantime, we will have to pass the budget. And we're thankful to the House leadership for at least passing the budget on third and final reading last Friday, last October 16. And we have enough time to do our thing and approve on third and final reading our own version of the budget on or before we go on break or even earlier, so that there will be enough time, say 1 week or 2 weeks, for the bicameral conference to happen.
So in spite of this, you're still seeing the budget to be passed on time?
Yeah, we'll make sure of that because it's passed on third and final reading, and they promised to transmit it to the Senate on October 16. October 28, or 1 or 2 days later. So we have enough time. That's the reason why we agreed among ourselves to even resume session 1 week earlier, because we're supposed to resume on November 16. We're resuming our session on November 9.
Senator, help me understand the situation. It's passed on third and final reading. It was passed on third and final reading last October 16. There are institutional amendments, as they call them, and this will be inputted in the printing, and then it will be sent to the Senate. Why not just take a couple of extra days to input this institutional amendments, pass it on third and final reading, and then print it?
You know, Pinky, whether or not it's institutional or individual amendments is of no moment. Kasi the Constitution is very clear. They cannot anymore introduce amendments after the third and final reading of any bill. No, this bill included.
Yeah.
So they cannot do that. But in the meantime, we will have to live with that and tackle the measure, the budget measure, in the Senate once it is transmitted to us, whether in soft copy or hard copy. They promised to send us the USB, the soft copy, by October 28, and we will have enough time to look into it so that on November 9, the chairman of the Committee on Finance will be able to file the committee report, the Senate committee report, and sponsor the measure on the floor probably on November 10. So we'll have enough time because interpolations and the period of amendments, we can finish that in 2 weeks. So give or take November 9 plus 14. So we'll have ample time to pass our own version and even tackle the disagreeing provisions in bicameral conference.
Yeah, but I still want to ask you that question, sir. Bakit hindi ho kaya dinagdagan na lang yung House sessions, pag-usapan po itong mga institutional amendments, pass it on third and final reading, and then have the budget printed?
You are absolutely correct. Dapat ganun na lang ginawa. Nag-extend sila ng 1 more week before they approve the budget on third and final reading so they can input all the amendments, individual or institutional, within that 1 week period. And then 1 week later, after October 16, maybe this week, they could have passed it on third and final reading para i-transmit na sa amin 1 week later. So pasok pa rin yun doon sa schedule. So anyway, that's not what happened. So we have to live with that.
Ano ho ba, just for the benefit of myself and the viewers, sir, ano ho ba pag tinatawag na institutional amendments?
Ang institutional amendments, mostly, nanggagaling ito sa request ng mga agencies. Like for example, I'm going to introduce, and I'll state it here and now, that I am inclined to introduce an institutional amendment to augment the budget of the DOST because nakaltasan ng 76 million pesos yung kanilang sa research. Another one is there's 8.2 billion pesos under the item special concerns, convergence and special support. Ito yung nakalodge sa budget ng DPWH, but then ang implementation nito, ang makikinabang is DOT. Now, I asked this particular question during the budget deliberations sa committee. Bakit yung tourism, one of the hardest hit sectors, yung infrastructure, kasi nakalagay doon leading to tourism destinations. Bakit binawasan pa natin ng 8.2 billion? Parang it doesn't make sense na yung theme ng 2021 budget is reset, rebound, and recover. So instead of allowing the tourism sector to recover or to rebound, binawasan pa ng 8.2 billion. at dinala kung saan-saan yung sa mga multipurpose buildings and so forth and so on. So ito yung mga institutional amendments. Yung individual amendment naman, ito yung mga local projects like multipurpose building, dredging, flood control. Yan yung mga pinapasok, farm to market roads.
Apo. I want to talk about the national projects and the local projects, sir, because I know you questioned that. But before I go there, just two more questions on this budget on third and final reading. I did watch Congressman Yap saying that it's an agency-initiated amendment that is part of the rules.
Yeah, that's the
So
second
pwede po yun.
violation, because the first violation is the Constitution, na wala nang pwedeng pumasok na amendments. Ang second violation is allowing the executive branch through their agencies to participate in the authorization phase of the budget process. Because there are 4 phases, preparation handled by the executive, authorization handled by Congress, execution again handled by the executive branch, and then accountability. This is where COA comes in. So separate and distinct lahat yung phases na yan. Sa amin yung authorization. So I cannot understand why the chairman of the Appropriations Committee of the House would allow the executive branch through their agencies to participate in the authorization phase. That is in violation of the budget process.
All right. There's so much to talk about, and of course, the big question
If I may
is there
suggest,
pork
Pinky,
in the...
siguro the better way to do it is just to transmit to us whatever they passed on third and final reading, kung ano man yung form nun, and then we tackle everything in the BICAM. Anyway, they can introduce their own amendments in the BICAM, because as we say, as we describe the BICAM, ito yung third and most powerful branch of the legislature, Ito yung kasi even
That's why, Senator, kaya naguguluhan pa rin po ako eh. Pwede naman pong mangyari yun sa BICAM. Even you said there would be institutional amendments that you want to put in place, such as that of the Department of Tourism and that, of course, of the DOST. I read that, sir. Bakit ho, what is the intention or the reason of passing it on third and final reading and then introduce institutional amendments after that? Is it just to be able to meet this deadline?
Yeah, I cannot see any reason why they should do that, because it's really in violation of the Constitution. It's unconstitutional, plain and simple.
Okay, we need to talk about also what is in the budget. I want to talk about the DOST, sir, the DPWH, the national projects versus the local projects, and of course, pork. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today is Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. Senator Lacson, kilala po kayo ng galit sa pork. Hindi ho kayo. You scrutinized the budget, and even before the Supreme Court ruling on this, hindi ho talaga kayo tumatanggap ng pork. Okay. Meron ho ba kayo so far na nakikitang pork sa 2021 budget?
Wala pa yung transmitted version. So hindi pa natin makita yung final form noong tinatawag na GAB2, yung General Appropriations Bill 2, which is the final House version. Now, under the NEP, doon kami merong nakita. In fact, there's another flaw in the submission of the National Expenditure Program. While the DBM or the executive submitted the budget last August 25, which is well within the 30-day period allowed under the Constitution, na after mag-open yung Congress or when the President delivers the SONA, within 30 days, kailangan transmit na sa Congress. They did that. Ang problema, yung DPWH submitted what they call an addendum last September 7. So 42 days after yung 30-day period, 12 days after the lapse of the 30-day period, saka pala nagsabit ng addendum, and we consider that as part of the NEP. Again, yung DPWH, hindi na sana namin pwedeng tanggapin yung sinabit nilang addendum because that's still part of the National Expenditure Program. Expired na yon. Yung na isabit na yung NEP. So that's another violation which we questioned during the committee hearings. Meron silang explanation that they were pressed for time, etc., etc., which to us, senators, hindi naman acceptable. But nandito na tayo. So again, we consider that nakita natin may mga lump sums and merong mga naulit na appropriations, meaning projects already appropriated under the present year, the current year, 2020.
Yeah.
Inulit na naman ito. Exact technical description ng mga projects.
Right. I did see that, sir, and I did read that. There are two things I want to discuss about this. Because when you were talking about the budget, kay Secretary Avisado, nagkaroon nga po ng explanation because of questions on lump sum. But let's stick to this, sir. Ang tanong niyo po kasi dito, nagtataka ho kayo, bakit yung national projects, yung funds for the national projects decreased? And the funds for the local projects actually increased. And I remember you asking, were lawmakers responsible for this, or was this completely your doing, asking the DPWH this question? Did you get a clear answer, sir?
No clear answer to that. Ang tinanong ko, because we had this information coming from the House members themselves. Some of them were also giving us the information na kaya na-delay yung submission ng DPWH na dapat nasama doon sa NEP sa August 25 submission dahil there was a lot of haggling that went on between some members of the House under the previous leadership and DBM. So nagka-delay yung submission ng DPWH. In the meantime, we found 396 billion pesos worth of projects na lump sum. Walang items. Talagang very general yung description, like preventive maintenance of primary roads, secondary roads, tertiary roads. Walang nakalagay kung ano yung items under preventive maintenance. So yun ang kinwestiyon, and then they submitted a detailed description of those lump sum appropriations. Doon na pumasok yung nabawasan. Hindi lamang yung lump sum ang hagip. Even other items under the DPWH budget, binago. So it was mangled, ang description ko nga, mangled beyond recognition, mutilated, talagang naiba na. So again, I was questioning that early, why would DPWH be able to participate doon sa authorization phase ng budget process? Kasi dapat sa Congress na yun pero nag-amend sila, yung sinasabing addendum, effectively they amended the NEP, and that's within the domain or exclusive jurisdiction of the Congress through the House of Representatives and eventually sa Senate. Ang daming violation
is there something wrong?
2021.
Yeah, yun na nga po I hear you identifying so many violations, and yet you keep saying, sir, andito na tayo. Why? Because the budget needs to be passed. So let me put that aside, sir. So is there something wrong na bumaba po yung funds allocated for national projects at tumaas po yung funds para sa local projects?
Depends on the items, on the description of the items. Ang napansin namin, kasi pagka mayroong theme, every year, pagka nagbibigay sila ng National Expenditure Program sa Kongreso, merong theme. And for 2021, ang theme nila napakaliwanag, reset, rebound, recover.
Rebound,
so dapat,
recover.
Yun ang guiding principle. Lahat ng gagawin nating lahat ng items na ipapasok natin doon nakapaloob doon sa reset, rebound, and recover. Yung reset tapos na yon because January to June and June to December yun yung tinatawag nilang rebound. Recovery, rebound and recover under the 2021 budget, parang it doesn't jive with the items in the budget. On the other hand, baliktad pa yung nangyari. Instead na mag-comply o sumunod doon sa rebound and recover, parang hindi doon papunta. Parang ang layo doon sa panawagan ng theme nila mismo.
Senator Lacson, we need to take another short break. The Source will be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today is Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. So you talked about that, sir, the questionable lump sums at DPWH budget, decrease in national roads projects, increase in local roads. Sir, where do you see the problem here? Is the problem with the DPWH having such questionable um, items, lump sum in the budget, sir? Is it a question of leadership? For example, Secretary Villar, where does that go?
Well, we must remember that the Congress exercises oversight function or check and balance sa executive branch, especially during budget deliberations. So nangyari dito, I think I can only surmise, there was a lot of pressure on Secretary Villar to accede to requests from district representatives. Kaya nga natagalan yung pag-submit nila. Another item that I want to
So,
augment as an institutional amendment, yung sa vaccines, there's only 2.5 billion pesos for vaccines to cover 3.9 million Filipinos. Now, assuming that there's already a vaccine available sa April next year, kulang na kulang yung 2.5 billion. So I'm thinking of augmenting another, say, 10 billion pesos or at least ma-approximate yung 10 billion pesos to cover more Filipinos. Kasi 3.9 million of 100 million Filipinos, out of 100 million Filipinos, masyado maliit yung mako-cover.
But mind you, Senator, that's part of the amendments that will be part of the printed copy, because the House was saying that there's an amendment of about 20 billion pesos and there's 5 billion pesos here, sir, for the COVID vaccine.
Well, that's good because we'll just formalize it. While I'm not saying that we're accepting the amendment or amendments introduced by the House after not in compliance with the third reading approved budget or version, pero we will formalize it in the Senate and probably in the BICAM, we can finalize it. Kung dinagdagan lang ng 10 billion, so naging 12.5, that's most welcome because pagka meron ng vaccines next year, kailangan talaga natin to cover as many Filipinos as we can. Kasi kung 3.9, how about the 96 million Filipinos? Mag-ahawa-hawa rin yun.
Right. Senator, very quickly, pinag-usapan nyo din, I know yung double appropriation, same item, same definition in 2020 and then same item, same definition in 2021. Ilan ho ito and how much in total yung nakita ninyo so far? And why? Why would there be the same budget for the same project in 2020 and 2021?
Yeah, there are 5,913 projects all in all, amounting to 135 billion pesos. Ito yung appropriated na in the 2020 budget. Tapos nakita uli namin, the same description, yung mga kilometer, yung stationing na tinatawag nila, from kilometer so and so to kilometer so and so. Ang tanong doon, kung hindi naman na-discontinue yung project, bakit hindi, kasi kung obligated na yung Pinky, that's another violation, especially yung Arroyo versus Aquino at saka yung Belgica, yung kaso sa DAP, di ba? Kasi clearly, dinefine na ng Supreme Court, ano ba yung meaning ng savings? Pag savings, kailangan discontinued o kaya completed o kaya abandoned. Ang tinatanong namin kina Secretary Abisado, Secretary Villar, nag-fall ba under those categories yung mga projects na sa 2020? Kasi kung obligated meaning meron ng notice of award, hindi mo na pwedeng bawasan yung budget na yun because obligation yun. Para may kontrata na yun between the contractor and the government.
Correct.
Yun ang problema.
All right. Senator, we're going to have to say, well, I think I have 1 minute here on television. I wanted you to briefly react on this because also Congressman Yap was saying yesterday that even Speaker Velasco was saying there's no pork in this budget. I know you're saying that you want to look at the final version first. Pero there was also a statement na dadaan naman daw po ito sa Senado, sabi ni Congressman Yap. Maybe you can tell them kung may pork, dadaan daw ito sa Senado at pwede namang ayusin kapag may pork sa budget.
Definitely, dadaan talaga sa Senate yun, Pinky, kasi bicameral tayo eh. Now, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt because new leadership, hindi naman namin kakilala pa sina Speaker Velasco, Congressman Yap. You know, Pinky, we are the old guards. dito sa, hindi naman sa pagbubuhat ng
Yeah.
bangko. Well, old guards and they're the young Turks. Ano? And gusto lang namin silang i-remind na there's a budget process that is not supposed to be flouted. And there's the Constitution that we must adhere to. So yun lang naman ang basic reminders namin sa kanila na pag magpasa sila ng budget, meron tayong sinusunod na panuntunan. Sana sumunod naman sila doon para hindi nagkakaroon ng problema between the two houses. Ano? But yes, in the meantime, we're willing to give them the benefit of the doubt na walang pork, until we see the transmitted final version of the House ng budget bill.
We have to say thank you to Senator Ping Lacson for now on television, but we will continue our discussion on Facebook Live. We're going to talk about the IRR of the anti-terrorism law. Thank you for joining us. Senator Ping, maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Thank you, Pinky.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.